Hello, this is Katie, and this is Valentine's card number 5. The last one was the treat bag die. And so this time we're going to make a heart-shaped shaker card. So I do want to create a base. I'll create a base out of white and then a back out of white, and I'll show you how we'll put that together so it can open freely. And then we'll create a front with the red and then cut out a hole for our shaker and kind of put that together. So the first thing that we want to do is die cut out. Put these aside. We'll have some sequins that we're going to be filling that with. We'll die cut out the 2 white hearts. Okay. So we'll do one of these. I could maybe double up on that and cut them both at the same time, but I'm not sure if it would go all the way through. So I'll just do one at a time to be safe. So we've got our first heart. Then I'll go ahead and run the second one through. So one will be the front and the back for the base. Then I will cut the same size out of red for the front. Okay, so now I'll stick a red one through. Excuse me. And then we want to have I'm going to have a sentiment under the sequins, and it'll be about as big as this here. So we're going to actually cut this heart out of the red heart to be kind of our shaker window. So I can center that. You can stick that down with some washi tape if you aren't sure if it'll kind of wiggle or not before you get it through the die cutter. So now we've got our front portion with our window in it. And then with the big die, I'm actually going to cut our acetate, which will be the sheet for the window itself. So I'll get one of my acetate sheets here. They came in individual, well, I got them at a local craft store, but they're separated by tissue paper, which is handy. So if you can't see through it, that's the acetate sheet. So I will cut a window, cut a piece big enough, put that away later. So I'm going to cut the heart out of the acetate sheet as well, just to make sure we're covered for the window. It makes that kind of sound when it goes through because it's cutting through that plastic. Okay, so we've got that window. You might have a lot of things cling to it, extra piece of paper, dust. You just want to blow it off the best you can. Keep it clean. Make sure your hands are clean so you're not smudging it either. And that should be fine. The sequins are going to kind of steal the show anyway, so shouldn't be that much of an issue. I think we're done with the die cutting part. So the first thing is we'll create this window. So I'm going to flip over the heart, make sure all the loose die cut stuff gets scraped off so we don't have that roaming around. We'll flip that over. Run your adhesive around the back of the whole heart. Just to make sure we're holding the window down. Then pick up your clear sheet, clean it off one more time, then it's going to be the same size really. So we'll just line that up. With the rest of the die. So now we've got our front piece with our little window on there. And if it went around the edge at all, you can always trim that off. It looked like it might have been a little bit. It probably won't be, honestly, very noticeable. But it's up to you if you can see it, or if you went too far over. You can trim that off. Okay. So I'll set aside this window piece that we've made. Then for the back of the base of the card, we want to create a score mark in it so that it'll fold and we won't mess up the front part here. So I want a straight line, so I'm going to go ahead and put it here. This should be pretty even. And then I'll probably do it around 3/4 of an inch here. So I'll do 3/4 all the way across. Make sure I'm holding it. Straight there. So then we'll create kind of a backwards fold here, and I'll use my heavier bone folder to flatten that out. And then you're putting adhesive on those top pieces. And then adhering the top to the same, make sure they match, and then pressing the adhesive there. So you've got the card, the front of the card is flat, that's what we're going to be working on, and it's got that fold in the back so that you can easily open it and you can still flatten it right in there and you still have your front intact. So that's how you create a card if it's a circle or a star or any other shapes. Find a place where you can put a straight line, put some adhesive on it, and then you've got your card base ready to go. And then we want to create that shaker portion, and we're going to lift this up a little bit. So I'm going to put this die in the middle. Make sure I've got it in the right spot based on the window that we're putting down. Okay. Alright, so that should be in the right spot. I'll leave it there. Hold it, and I've moved it. Okay. I do want to make sure this is lined up right. So move it over a little bit, and that should be fine. So I'm going to hold it still and just draw a light pencil line. So where we're going to be putting our foam tape on the outside of that, so we can drop our shaker sequin pieces in there. So I'll zoom in a little bit here. Hopefully that will work. Then we'll take the foam tape. Actually, we want to stamp our sentiment first. So I'm going to go ahead and use the reverse confetti crushing. I've used that in a past video. I'm going to use, I think I'll use this stamp right here. So it's the love. It's a little sketched letters. Get a block, and then we'll do it so it's bold in the background. So I'll use the VersaFine Onyx Black ink for that. Make sure we've inked it up good, and then center. Stamp that down. So now I want to put, I'm just going to pre-snip a strip off there and hang this off my desk and kind of work with it. So I want to create that border around, and you also want to, I'm trying to think of how high it will be if I do double up, because I want to make sure the sequins have enough area to move around. I also don't want to put too many in there because I don't want to cover up the sentiment. So I think I might double it up. So I'm going to go ahead and pause while I do this part. I'll put foam tape all the way around, creating a barrier so none of the sequins can get out, and then I'll probably do a second layer on top of that. So I'll peel all of these off, do the same thing on top, and peel all those off, and I'll come back before I do that. Okay, so I've got the 2 layers of foam. So I did the first one that's hiding under there, and then I've got a second one on top. I don't know if I can focus on something that's skinny, but you can kind of see that in there. So I've got 2 layers. I also do want some foam around the edge. We still want to hold up the other parts of this red window that we're going to put on top. So I will also put 2 layers here. So I'll put first layer, peel that off, and the second layer, peel that off, give this one a second layer over here, and that should be enough support there. So then I probably should have erased, I wonder if I can sneak in here and do that, erased the pencil line. I'd recommend getting that out of there before you put all your, or I don't know how you would actually, just try and sneak the eraser in there. This actually may help. There's an embossing powder brush that a lot of card makers use, and they brush it along the area where my eraser is actually touching to leave a powder on there so that the sequins don't end up sticking to your foam. And I have a feeling that my eraser may be doing the same thing, so we'll just go with that theory and hope it's helping. Just kind of blow this out of there. And I also have a paintbrush that can be doing the same thing. Alright. So I've got that out of there, so I want to pick some sequins to go into the middle. And I have several different kinds. I believe some of these, most of them are probably from Pretty Pink Posh. Some of them are possibly elsewhere, but I don't think so. Put a couple clear ones, maybe a few white. I want to make sure this is in a kind of a single layer. You don't want to stack your sequins or pile them too high and then put a window on it and it presses down and then they may not move. It may be hard to get them to shuffle around, so I want to avoid that. I'll put some of the little dark red ones. That'll be a nice contrast. Okay, so I want to leave enough space in there so that you can actually see the sentiment. So then we'll go ahead and set our window on here. I think I do want some adhesive here though, so I'll trim off another short piece and we'll give it just a little lift there. Trim off the edge. Try not to bump my sequins around so much. Alright, so I've got my sequins pretty flat and the sticky foam. So I'll start maybe at one end here. We'll start at the heart end. line that up and then stick it down. Would also be great if the foam doesn't show through your window. Sometimes it's hard to do that though. So when you're putting the foam around the pencil line, set it back a little bit so the foam won't be visible. Okay, so in this one the foam is a little visible. I think the eraser did help so that they're not all sticking to the foam sides, which is nice, but you can kind of see, hopefully this will focus for you. You can kind of see that foam pretty easily. So next time I would probably set that back a little farther and just to make sure it's not visible. But from a distance, it looks pretty cute, and you can still see the message inside. And then so you've got that raised up. You can see some foam if you look underneath, and then you've got a spot to write. So that is the shaker card. Thank you for watching, and come back for card number 6.